Humans have been sitting in boiling hot steam-filled rooms to cure their physical ailments for, well over 2,000 years. I mean, it's an ancient tradition at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a cornerstone of wellness in a lot of cultures.
Right. But what if I told you that making a sauna 30 degrees cooler could actually make you sweat significantly more?
Which sounds completely counterintuitive.
It really does. And what if, instead of sharing that sweaty experience with like 3 strangers at your local gym, you could have the entire experience right inside your own spare bedroom?
That is the modern dream right there.
Exactly. So today, we are doing a deep dive into the SunRay Saunas 3-person FAR Infrared Sauna. Specifically, we're looking at the Savannah Cedar model.
And it is a genuinely fascinating piece of engineering. I mean, it really sits right at the intersection of home improvement, advanced wellness technology, and just everyday physical recovery.
It does. But here's the mission for this deep dive.
Yeah.
If you, the listener, have looked into this market at all recently, you know there are dozens, maybe hundreds of home saunas out there.
Oh, easily hundreds. It's a flooded market right now.
Yeah, and the Savannah Cedar model currently goes for over $3,000. So the big question for you today is this. Is this $3,000 plus investment actually worth your time, your hard-earned money, and honestly, your precious floor space?
Right, because it takes up a lot of room.
It really does. So we are framing this entire discussion around one central tension: the luxurious spa fantasy versus the physical DIY reality of putting a massive wooden box in your house.
Because those are two very different things.
Exactly. We are going to dig into the actual specifications, the real customer feedback, and the hidden friction points to give you the complete picture. Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, let's start with the absolute foundation, because before we get into the luxury features like the Bluetooth or the fancy lighting, we need to establish exactly what this machine is and how it fundamentally works.
Right, the heat source itself.
Exactly. The word sauna gets thrown around as a catch-all term, but this is a FAR Infrared Sauna. And that is a very different beast from the traditional steam sauna you might be used to at a hotel or a health club.
And the difference is, well, it's architectural. Think of a traditional steam sauna like a standard convection oven.
That's a good way to look at it.
Right, because a convection oven has to heat all of the air inside the box first, and then that extremely hot air slowly cooks the food from the outside in.
Yeah, which is why traditional steam rooms feel so suffocating. They are literally heating the air around you to an extreme degree.
But FAR infrared heat, it's completely different. It's more like a microwave. It uses specific energy waves to bypass the air almost entirely and heat the object, meaning you, directly from the inside out.
That is the perfect analogy to understand the mechanism.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the biology of human tissue, it really comes down to how very specific wavelengths of light interact with our bodies.
Okay, so break that down for us. What is the light actually doing?
Well, FR infrared heat operates at a wavelength that actually penetrates your skin. It travels roughly 1.5 to 2 inches deep directly into your muscle tissue and joints.
Wait, wow, 2 inches deep?
Yeah, it's incredibly penetrating.
But wait, I have to ask. I mean, if it is running 30 degrees cooler than a steam sauna, is it actually going to feel hot enough? Or am I just going to be sitting in a mildly warm, very expensive cedar closet for 40 minutes?
No, it is going to feel intensely hot, but in a completely different way. Because the heat is bypassing the air and going deep into your tissue, your body's internal core temperature rises much, much faster.
Okay, so you heat up from the inside.
Right, and in response to that deep tissue heating, your blood vessels dilate, which is a process called vasodilation.
Vasodilation, got it.
Yeah, and your heart rate increases to pump blood to the surface of your skin to try and cool you down, which actually mimics the cardiovascular exertion of a moderate workout.
Oh, wow. So your body's working hard even though you're just sitting there?
Exactly. So even though the air inside the Savannah might only be, say, 130 or 140 degrees Fahrenheit compared to maybe 170 degrees in a steam room, your body is reacting far more aggressively.
And as a result, you actually sweat more profusely at a much lower ambient temperature.
You really do. The sweat volume is significant.
And because you aren't waiting for a giant room full of air and rocks to get hot, it saves you a massive amount of waiting time, right?
Oh, absolutely. A traditional steam sauna can take 45 to 60 minutes just to get up to a usable temperature.
Yeah, you basically have to plan your whole evening around it.
Right. But the Savannah, it heats up to its peak temperature in just 10 to 15 minutes.
Which is incredible. By the time you've, filled up your water bottle and changed into a towel, it's basically ready to go.
Exactly. It completely removes that barrier to entry for daily use. I mean, if something takes an hour to prep, You aren't going to use it on a random Tuesday night after work.
No, you'll just sit on the couch instead.
Right. But if it takes 10 minutes, it becomes a daily habit. But the heating mechanism is really only half the story here. The physical environment itself is just as crucial, and that brings us to the construction materials.
Yes. The build. I want to be incredibly clear about this because there are a lot of cheap home saunas flooding the market right now that are essentially made of glorified cardboard or like thin wood veneers glued over plastic frames.
Yeah, there's a lot of junk out there.
But the Savannah is built from solid, natural Canadian red cedar.
And that material choice is absolutely vital, not just for aesthetics, but for the fundamental safety and longevity of the unit.
Because it has to handle all that heat and moisture, right?
Exactly. A sauna is a high heat, high moisture environment. If you use cheap treated plywood, the extreme heat can actually cause the adhesives and the chemical treatments in the wood to off-gas toxic fumes.
Oh, wow. Right into the enclosed space where you are deep breathing.
Yeah, which is the exact opposite of a health benefit.
Seriously, you're trying to detox, not breathe in glue fumes.
Precisely. But solid Canadian red cedar is naturally rot resistant. It structurally resists warping and cracking under extreme temperature fluctuations.
And it smells amazing.
It does. And crucially, it contains natural oils that give it antimicrobial properties. That is exactly what you need to prevent mold and bacteria growth when you are constantly sweating inside a confined, warm space.
Yeah, no, we really can't ignore the sensory aspect of the wood. When that natural cedar gets warm, it releases that rich, authentic, woody aroma.
Which operates as a powerful psychological trigger. When you smell that specific cedar scent, your nervous system actually begins to recognize the pattern.
It knows it's time to relax.
Right. Your brain knows it is time to downshift from the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight mode, into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest state.
All right, so we have this solid aromatic cedar cabin, and we know it is heating our core directly with infrared light. Let's take the listener inside. What does a session actually feel like once you step through that glass door?
Well, once you are inside, the heat distribution is really what separates a premium model from a budget one. The Savannah utilizes 8 separate carbon nanoheaters.
8 of them.
Yeah, 8. And they're strategically placed along the back, the side walls, and even under the bench.
Oh, nice. Because older generations of infrared saunas used to rely on ceramic tube heaters, right?
Yes, exactly. And ceramic gets incredibly hot, but it has a major flaw. It concentrates the heat in a very tight radius.
So you'd get hot spots.
Right. You would literally have a burning sensation on the back of your knee while your shoulders and neck were completely cold.
Ugh, nobody wants a spotlight of heat. You want like a heavy blanket of heat.
Exactly. And these carbon nano panels operate at a slightly lower surface temperature, but they distribute the FAR infrared waves evenly across a massive surface area. So they entirely envelop you in consistent warmth.
Okay, but while we are talking about being surrounded by all these electrical panels, we have to address a very real safety concern. EMF, or electromagnetic fields.
It is a legitimate concern, definitely.
Right, because you are literally sitting inches away from high-powered electrical heating elements, stripped down, sweating for up to an hour a day. I know a lot of health-conscious buyers are very concerned about daily electronic radiation exposure.
Yeah, people ask about that a lot. The Savannah has an EMF rating of 2.4 millig, or milligauss. Now, to be entirely transparent, that is not zero EMF. Some ultra-premium units boast near-zero ratings.
Right, the really expensive ones.
Yeah, but we need to contextualize what 2.4 millig actually means in your daily life. To put that into perspective, holding a standard hairdryer to your head for 5 minutes exposes you to anywhere from 40 to 20,000 millig.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
Yeah, and standing next to your microwave can expose you to 100 to 500 millig.
Okay, so at 2.4 milligauss, you are experiencing a tiny fraction of the electrical radiation you get just from your normal morning grooming routine.
Exactly. For carbon heater panels, 2.4 millig is on the very low end, and it is well within a range that the vast majority of health professionals consider acceptable for daily use. Furthermore, the unit holds an ETL safety certification from Intertek.
Which means what, exactly, like practically speaking?
It means the entire electrical system has been rigorously stress tested by a nationally recognized independent laboratory for electrical safety in North America.
Okay, so it won't burn your house down.
Right. When you are pulling almost 2,000 watts of power into a wooden box that you're sitting inside, an ETL certification is the difference between a safe wellness device and a massive fire hazard. It is non-negotiable.
It's the ultimate peace of mind factor. So you're safe, the heat is even, the wood is clean, but this thing is also packed with secondary tech features.
It definitely has some bells and whistles.
Yeah. First of all, it has dual interior and exterior soft touch control panels. You can walk by it in the hallway, turn it on from the outside panel, go prep your towel, and then step inside once it's perfectly preheated, all without having to open the door and let the heat escape.
Which is such a smart design choice.
Right. And inside, there are movable ergonomic backrests for posture support and built-in cup holders to keep your electrolyte drink handy. And then there's the electronic add-ons.
Ah, yes, the creature comforts.
Yes. It features chromotherapy, which is a colored LED lighting system that cycles through different hues. It has a built-in Bluetooth speaker system for audio, and there is a built-in oxygen ionizer meant to purify the air. But I need to challenge this a bit.
Go right ahead.
I get the psychology of a routine, but usually when a company crams Bluetooth speakers, LED mood lights, and an ionizer into a wooden box, those secondary features are just cheap afterthoughts that break in a month.
It's a fair point.
Right. Like, does a home sauna really need all this tech? Are the speakers going to sound like a tin can? Is this just padding the feature list to justify a $3,000 price tag?
What's fascinating here is how these features actually interact with your biology and your behavioral psychology. Let's start with the ionizer, because that isn't just a gimmick. It actually has a mechanical function.
Okay, I'm listening.
Inside a sauna, you are shedding microscopic skin cells and sweating out toxins. The air can get stale very quickly. An oxygen ionizer works by releasing negative ions into the cabin.
And what do negative ions do?
These negative ions magnetically attach themselves to positively charged particles in the air like dust, sweat molecules, and dander, making them too heavy to float. So it literally drops them out of the air you are breathing.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So it is mechanically scrubbing the air, not just making it smell nice with some perfume.
Correct. Now, as for the chromotherapy and the Bluetooth, are they audiophile-grade studio speakers? No, of course not.
Right.
But human behavior requires immersion to maintain a habit. Technically, a hot wooden box is all you need for vasodilation. But sitting in absolute silence staring at a wooden wall for 40 minutes is incredibly boring.
Yeah, I'd probably last 10 minutes.
Exactly. People quit doing it. Streaming a podcast or a guided meditation through the built-in speakers keeps your mind engaged.
And the lights.
The ambient lighting shifts the environment from a clinical health treatment into more of a sensory escape. Combining the clean air from the ionizer, the visual stimulus, and the audio transforms a basic sweat session into a holistic ritual.
I see. It makes you want to stay in there for the full time required to actually get the cardiovascular benefits.
Precisely.
Okay, I see your point. The tech serves the habit. But let's step completely out of this idealized spa fantasy for a minute and deal with the physical reality.
The delivery day.
Yes, because when you order this, a massive freight truck is going to show up at the edge of your driveway.
The logistics of delivery and assembly are absolutely the biggest friction point for buyers.
Let's talk footprint and weight. The Savannah measures 6 feet 3 inches high, 4 feet 11 inches wide, and 3 feet 11 inches deep.
That is a substantial piece of furniture.
It's huge, and the total shipping weight is a massive 375 pounds. Oh, and the front door and side windows are made of this heavy, sleek, tempered glass.
Which looks gorgeous, but it adds a lot of weight.
Yeah. It looks great, but because of the glass and the sheer density of solid cedar panels, you absolutely need at least 2 able-bodied people to move this and assemble it.
The DIY reality of assembly is really where the rubber meets the road here. Now, the manufacturer claims this is easy because the construction relies on a tongue-and-groove system.
Right. They say it just snaps together.
Yeah, the panels essentially slide and lock into each other, and then you lock them down using internal buckles. They say you literally only need a Phillips head screwdriver to put it together.
I have to call a slight bluff on that. I mean, a 375-pound wooden cabin with embedded electrical panels and massive tempered glass doors requires just 1 screwdriver. I find it hard to believe it's that seamless.
Your skepticism is completely warranted, and this is where managing expectations is key. While you don't need a garage full of power tools, you do need physical strength and a lot of patience.
How long does it actually take?
Real users report that the assembly process takes anywhere from 2 to over 4 hours.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's an entire afternoon.
Easily. You are maneuvering large, awkward, heavy wooden panels. You're running electrical wires up through the walls to connect the roof panel, and you have to line up these heavy glass doors perfectly on their hinges.
Which is never as easy as it sounds.
No, it's not. And remember, at nearly 400 pounds assembled, Where it lands is where it lives. You are not going to be casually sliding this across the carpet to vacuum behind it.
No, it is a permanent architectural addition to your room. Let's look at what actual customers are saying about navigating that experience, though. Because on Wayfair, based on 16 verified reviews, the Savannah is sitting at a stellar 4.9 out of 5 stars.
That is an exceptionally high rating for a large, complex appliance that requires self-assembly.
It really is. The positive reviews are incredibly consistent. Reviewers like Ralph from Madison, Connecticut say they use it every single day. He loves that fast 10-minute heat-up time.
That quick start really is a game changer for daily use.
Yeah. And crucially, he noted that he had a minor issue with the exterior control panel right out of the box, contacted SunRay's customer service, and they literally FedExed him a replacement panel the very next day.
That speaks volumes. I mean, things will occasionally break during freight shipping, but a brand's willingness to overnight replacement parts is the true test of a warranty.
Exactly. Then you have Brenda from Indiana and Rebecca from Georgia, who both praised it as a perfectly working, luxurious addition to their homes, with deliveries arriving securely on pallets even earlier than expected.
But 4.9 stars is not a perfect 5.
Yeah.
If we are giving you the full picture, we really need to analyze the criticisms and the friction points.
Right, and this brings us back to those secondary tech features. We have reviews from Rita in Florida and Michael in Wisconsin. Both of them loved the core sauna-like, the heat, the wood, the sweating experience. Yep. But they both heavily criticized the instruction manual, specifically the documentation for setting up the oxygen ionizer and syncing the Bluetooth. They called the instructions hard to follow and essentially useless.
Yeah, that is a classic symptom of imported electronics. The core thermodynamic engineering of the sauna is rock solid, but the English translations in the user manual for the digital add-ons are often just a confusing afterthought.
So you're basically on your own.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You'll likely have to rely on trial and error or maybe find some YouTube tutorials to figure out the ionizer.
Rita also pointed out a structural friction point. She mentioned that the physical dimensions listed online were slightly off from the actual product she received.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yeah. She literally had to trim a section of her wall's baseboard just to make the sauna fit into her designated alcove.
And this synthesizes perfectly into a clear bottom line takeaway for anyone buying this. The core product absolutely delivers on its health promises. The Canadian Cedar is authentic, the carbon heaters work wonderfully, and the customer service is highly responsive. But you need to budget a lot of patience and physical energy for delivery day. You have to navigate a multi-hour assembly, figure out the digital controls mostly on your own, and leave yourself a strict margin of error when measuring your room.
Yeah, measure twice and maybe leave an extra 2 inches on every side just to be safe. So, having covered the spa fantasy and the DIY reality, let's help the listener figure out if this specific model actually fits their lifestyle.
Let's do it.
Let's talk logistics, specifically powering this beast.
This is one of the most attractive and honestly most misunderstood selling points of the Savannah. It runs on a standard 120-volt, 20-amp household outlet.
So what does this all mean for the listener? Does that mean it is truly just plug and play? Like, can I just shove the plug into the wall next to my television and hit the power button?
Well, yes and no. The massive benefit here is that it does not require you to hire a licensed electrician to come into your home, run new heavy gauge wire through your drywall, and hardwire the unit directly into your electrical panel.
Which is great. That alone saves you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars and a massive headache.
Absolutely.
Okay, but what's the catch?
The catch is the power draw. The Savannah draws 1,965 watts of power when it is heating up. You really need to go look at your home's breaker panel right now.
Why? What am I looking for?
Yes, it plugs into a standard-looking wall outlet, but if that specific outlet shares a circuit with your basement refrigerator or a space heater or a high-end gaming PC, you're going to trip your circuit breaker the second you turn the sauna on.
Oh, I see.
It requires a dedicated 20-amp circuit to run smoothly. So it is plug and play, but you have to be highly strategic about exactly where you plug it in.
That is an incredibly important caveat. Nobody wants the power going out halfway through a sweat session. So based on all of this, the biology, the build, the assembly, the power, who is this sauna really FOR?
It is heavily targeted at health-focused individuals who want to invest in preventative wellness. We mentioned the cardiovascular response earlier.
Right, the passive workout.
Yeah. Research from the National Institutes of Health supports this, suggesting that regular, deep-tissue FAR infrared sauna use may support cardiovascular health improve endothelial function, and even help lower blood pressure over time. Because like you said, you're essentially giving your heart a passive workout.
And what about the physical size? Who fits best?
Size-wise, it's ideal for households of 2 to 3 people, or honestly, for a single person who just wants the luxury of laying down and stretching their legs across the bench.
Sounds amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
And practically speaking, it is for homeowners who have a dedicated indoor space, like a spare bedroom, a finished basement, or a converted garage.
And on the flip side, who should absolutely avoid clicking add to cart?
It is not for single individuals living in small apartments who just need a compact one-person pop-up tent unit.
Sure, just no room for it.
Right. And it is definitively not for frequent renters who move every year. I mean, trying to disassemble a 375-pound Cedar cabin, rent a box truck, and reassemble it in a new apartment will ruin your weekend and possibly damage the tongue and groove joints permanently.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
And of course, it is not for those on a tight budget.
Which brings us to the final investment. Right now, the Savannah is listed at $3,083.82 on Wayfair.
Which is a serious chunk of change. $3,000 is a foundational purchase.
It really is.
But you have to weigh that upfront cost against the longevity of the materials and the brand support. SunRay backs this sauna with a very strong 7-year product warranty against defects in the materials and workmanship.
Plus, Wayfair offers their standard 30-day return window. But let's be real here. Trying to disassemble a nearly 400-pound wooden cabin, find a way to safely repackage massive glass doors into cardboard, and then coordinate freight shipping back to a warehouse sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare.
It is a nightmare. I mean, the return policy provides a nice safety net on paper, but in practice, you want to be absolutely sure about the measurements, the electrical requirements, and your commitment to using it before you hit the checkout button. Returns on freight items are a last resort, not a trial period.
So, to summarize our deep dive for you today, the SunRay Savannah Cedar FAR Infrared Sauna is a genuinely impressive, structurally sound piece of wellness equipment.
Agreed.
It heats your body efficiently from the inside out using carbon nanopanels. It delivers the physiological benefits of a heavy sweat without the suffocating 170-degree air of a steam room, and the natural cedar construction is built to last.
Yes, the build quality is top-notch.
As long as you are willing to navigate a heavy multi-hour assembly process, forgive a useless instruction manual for the digital features, and you have the dedicated floor space and electrical capacity for it, it really does bridge the gap between the luxury spa fantasy and your daily routine.
It really does. And I think this analysis leaves us with a completely new angle to consider. We spend a lot of time talking about the personal health benefits, but think about how products like this are fundamentally shifting the real estate landscape.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, historically, we have valued homes based on kitchen upgrades, open floor plans, and smart thermostats. But as high-quality plug-and-play wellness technology becomes more accessible, we are rapidly approaching a future where a home's value might be judged by its built-in biological recovery system.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. Will the next generation of home buyers look at an empty spare bedroom and expect a dedicated wellness suite the exact same way we currently expect a house to come with a dishwasher or a laundry room?
Wow. You are literally building equity in your home by building a spa in your hallway. I absolutely love that perspective. Well, if you are listening to this and you are ready to stop fighting gym traffic, stop paying monthly spa fees, and you want to upgrade your home's wellness architecture with the Savannah Cedar, you can check out the exact model we discussed today and buy the product you'll make in the description below. Just make sure you measure your space twice, check your breaking panel, and invite a very strong Until next time, stay curious.
She puts her hand in mine.